their feet. Nice again. Yeah, yeah. How many more decades round the street corner before society realize young people not breaking the law, they fighting a war? Dominica, open up your eyes. Cause all this rage and anger, hostile behavior, lack of respect on the public road, it means they can't take much more of societal neglect. So before this war explodes, arm them, arm them, arm them with the tools they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field of endeavor. They have their rights, they have the strength to fight. And if we do what's right, we win the peace, they win their war. Come on! Oh yeah! Born and alive. None of them. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How many more fatal traffic accidents? How many more children to be buried by parents when they fly in their bike in the air like stuntmen? It's a show of open defiance. And while politics divide us, the country's best resource intoxicated and wasted away. Meanwhile, those who hold power, they really don't care, cause it's not they and theirs who'll be exposed to the dangers. Arm them, arm them, arm them with the skills they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field of endeavor. They have their rights. They really want to fight. But if we do what's right, we win the peace. They win their war. Oh yeah, born until da 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 da. Yeah yeah. Dominica, wake up to your youth. There's a ticking time bomb under your roof. Without a job, education, skill or vision, they'll just become pawns for politicians. Because if your energy is anti-society, the first victims will be children and the elderly. How can Dominica claim to be strong when the youth in the land are living in rebellion? So arm them, arm them, arm them with the chance they need. They just want to succeed in whatever they feel, their field of endeavor. They have their rights. Look at them, they want to fight. But if we do what's right, we win the peace, they win their war.
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good evening to all of you already locked to the space that you got. That is a Civic Vibe space. It is just about 10 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock here in Dominica. Not just in Dominica, though, but in the regional space that we live. That is the Caribbean Basin. A special good afternoon to all of you guys out there in that space as well. Oh, those of you further afield, good evening to you. Some of you already is even good morning. So whatever time of day it is in your neck of the wood, special greetings and welcome to the spot that you are listening to now, the spot that you're viewing to now. That is the Civic Vibes program aired each and every Sunday from just about 6 o'clock in Dominica. Folks, it promises to be yet another very interesting and engaging conversation right here. This weekend's conversation, today's conversation is with the young people of Dominica. We're going to hear from at least two of our young persons, enterprising young persons, very erudite young persons in Dominica. And our special guest here this afternoon is none other than Brother Tyron Nicholas, all right, aka Flacco. So those of you who have been hearing this brother, you know what he's about. And so we're going to hear much more from him this afternoon. Tyron basically gave a very splendid contribution at the last, consultation on electoral reform in Dominica. And so he's no stranger to you, or he shouldn't be no stranger to you by now. So Flacco, we welcome you very much to the broadcast here this evening. We also have a young and uprising, a young budding social media activist of late. You have a very broad smile as we get in on here. We have, her name is Amicia Luke Vigil, yes. But for short, we're just going to call her Emma. All right, Emma. Good afternoon to you again, Emma. Thank you very much for being here on the broadcast here this afternoon. We're going to have a conversation with all young persons out there, but these two for sure will set the tone for the conversation to come. Folks, the numbers to call into the program, yes, we have two designated lines that you can call in to add your voice or add your piece, add your contribution, whatever it is, ask a question, whatever it is. And these numbers, they are 245-2396. Again, I want to repeat, 245-2396, or the DigiLine 615-9470. All right, so that is the two lines that we have here. Those of you on YouTube, those of you on Facebook, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here. Let me just say straight up the bat that the host of the program, Brother Alvin Thomas, will be here a little later. He's running a bit late. And so whenever Alvin comes in, then we will welcome him as well to the broadcast. But folks, without further ado, let me move across to the two special invited guests and the name of Brother Tyron Nicholas and also Amicia Vigil. We'll just call her Emma for short and Flacco for short for the conversation's sake. Let me say good afternoon to you, Brother Nicholas. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Lofty, and thank you, for the engagement. It's always a pleasure listening to you, on Saturdays and Sundays. And welcome to the listening audience, and it's a pleasure to be here, engaged as part of the conversation, and to engage with Miss Luke or Miss Vigil,
Is Mrs. Vigil.
Miss Vigil. So
Or we'll just call her
it's
Emma for short.
yes, so it's a pleasure to be engaged with Emma. You know, I saw a few of her lives, and like I keep saying that every act, all of these are, I interpret these as revolutionary acts, because it takes some sort of courage to go public and to express, you know, your views and so on. And it does inspire courage in others to get them to that place where they can actually begin to speak up for themselves. So I welcome the discussion, and I look forward to a fruitful engagement tonight. Yes, Lofty, thank you again.
Yes, indeed. Brother Flacco, thank you very, very much indeed. Emma, good evening to you.
Good evening, Lofty. Good evening to you. Good night, everyone.
Emma, as we start the conversation here, I want to just tell the viewing and listening public that you are one on social media, doing your thing for Dominica. And so as we're about to take flight, as it were, this afternoon, the conversation, let me just prep you guys. The first question, the first scenario of the bat is I'll just ask you guys to briefly describe yourself to the audience here this evening. But before we do that, so you can meditate on that just a bit. Before we do that, let's go to the viewing audience here. I know most persons always like to hear the names called, always, because they're part and parcel of the conversation. And so I'll be doing just that this afternoon. Right now, right here. We have Joan Farrell. Good evening to you. She's saying good evening. Also, Mr. Cyrus Raphael, Mali Ostri, Dana Peterson. Good evening to you. Rosa Robinson, you are there. Dave Bertrand, listening and watching as well. Simeon George, Philson George Sr., Justina James, Marvella Defoe, Day, Jojo, Gertrude Abraham, Dejan, you're also there. Vernie Vache, you're also there. Marvella Defoe, yes, John Harry, Unfiltered Diasporas, that person called him or herself. Miss Adelaide Paul, you're there, good evening to you. Usila James, Dory Drago, Antoine George, Lafoy Julian, Eutheli Vidal, Stephanie John Baptist, Cecilia Bedminster, Pat Corbett, brother up there in the north of Dominica, good evening to you and your family. Angela Paul, Eliza Louis Gomes, San Joseph, Omar Monel, Caroline Warrington, Lauren Lestrade, Glenda Lavidou Burton, Claudette Dura, Celia Godden, Marceline Edwards, Bernard Aline, Dorian Dorival, Bernard Ulysses, Curlin Sanders, Carol Olivaci Bruni, listening and watching as well. Bryna Francis, Juanita Prince, Viva Mamu, Henrietta James, Irresistible Cordelia. Good evening to you. Juanita Prince, I think I mentioned that name already. Matthew Nelson, Judith Cochran, Lucinda McDowell Thole, Maury Jules, Watson Duvini, that is Milner, Watson Duvini, Carol Jules Matthew, Edith John, Manuel in Pierre, Uma Monel, I taught you already. We also have Brother Peter. Well, not Brother Peter, we have Pretty Joseph registering for the first time. Well, good evening to you, Pretty Joseph, whoever you are this time. Thank you very much for tuning in for the very first time. Rita Joseph, Anthony Simon, Gertrude Maxwell, Clyde Gregoire, Marlene Shillingford, Joseph Parilor, Jean Fassois, and the list goes on and on and on. Folks, yes, it's a pleasure to have you here. What we do here each and every Sunday is speak about, have a civil conversation. The name of the program is Civic Vibes. We always try to have those conversations in a very civil manner. What we will not tolerate here, though, is to bring down the level of the conversation in that back and forth rancor, name calling. No, we will not, tolerate that here. But if you have a meaningful contribution to make to the program, we welcome that each and every time. As I said, Alvin Thomas is running a little late, but he will be there with us shortly. All right. So folks, yes, let's go back now to the live panel here and the guests you are here. Good evening to you again, Emma. Can you just give the listening and viewing public a brief description? Just who is Emma Vigil?
Well, Emma Vigil, short for Emma. Everybody can call me Emma. Okay. Who am I? Well, I am a young mother. I'm from Stock Farm, but currently I'm residing at Portsmouth. That's enough for Dominica. And I don't know. I guess I'm just a straightforward person. Ask questions, come on. You know, we can have a little conversation, let it flow. I don't really know as to say, you know, but I'm there. I am a open-hearted person. You can relate to me. I can relate to you. Yeah, that's the most I can say. I don't know. I have free children, free boys. So yeah.
That's the vibes.
Yes.
All right, Emma, thank you very much for that brief introduction of yourself. At least I know the crowd or the persons here, they're a bit more warmed up to you in terms of your deliveries to come. Thank you very much indeed. Brother Flacco, same scenario to you, same question to you.
Yes, Lofty. Well, for those that already know me, well, my name is Tyrone Nicholas, also known as Flacco. I'm a network engineer by profession, or IT administrator, and I basically, you know, like Emma, I'm just the average citizen that you know, I look at what's going on in my country, the social issues that are affecting us, and I wonder why sometimes that a lot of people choose to remain silent. And I know that silence can never usher change. It can never affect anything to change the circumstances that we're living in. So I make a choice as an average Joe, as an average person, to speak. I come up from, and I wouldn't say I have the best background, you know. Like I say, I'm an average guy. I run on the road already. I run Kawat. I made less than good choices, you know. I've made my fair share of mistakes, like every other person. But at the end of the day, we all hope that in the world there'll be more good than bad. So if we see in, like, you know, we've been inundated by less than good, or what we might even consider evil, then we have a duty to react or to stand up against it. And if we don't, then, like the saying goes, all evil needs to prevail in the world is for good men to do nothing.
Indeed. Very, very, very profound words here coming from Brother Flacco. Indeed. Folks, our topic for this afternoon's conversation with these young people, it is our youth, our country, and the all-important question is, where are we now? That is the fundamental question we want to answer this afternoon. We want to put to these young people this afternoon. And those of you with young persons out there, please draw them near to that conversation this afternoon. And if needs be, let them be participants of this program as well. Again, the numbers to call in sometime later at the 7 o'clock hour, when we open up those lines, they are 615-9470. Again, I repeat, 615-9470 or 245-2396. Flacco, let us hit it. Emma, let us hit it. And the conversation that we're going to have is nothing strange. It's things that you guys are going through, your personal experiences. You guys speak about it, especially Emma on social media. Brother Flacco, you give a splendid conversation, as I said before, at that national consultation. And so you guys are basically on the ground, as you said, Flacco, feeling the pulse of the young people in particular. And that is where I want to surround that conversation this afternoon, letting people get the real unadulterated truth, as it were, especially from the young people's perspective. And is on that note, Flacco, I want to ask you straight up the bat. Flacco, you as a young man living in Dominica, what is the vibes on the ground, Flacco? What are you feeling? What are you hearing? Just give us the scenario.
Well, of the it's varying stories. You know, there's a wide spectrum of situations. There are people who have means of support, whether it be family or whatever, and there are people who have no support, you know, and are basically in a place where they are left to accept whatever is dished out to them. You know, they say in our colloquial, you know, that something better than nothing, you know. And there's a large divide, and in that divide there's a disconnect. So those who have the support and perhaps, you know, resources that they can you know, basically insulate or push on themselves against the day-to-day pressures, they don't empathize. You don't get that kind of empathy from between, you know, these different groups. So if we look at it in political terms, you know, I would say that there's a large majority of young people, youth, who are disinterested in the political system, in basically political life in Dominica. I would go further to say that there's a large segment of our young population who don't believe that the sitting administration can be removed by the ballot. And it's clear in their comments, you know. They basically, when you ask them about conversations like electoral reform and so on, they want to have no part of that conversation, because they tend to see that conversation as one of entitlement. And I don't completely agree with them, but I tend to see where they're coming from, because a large part of the discussion around electoral reform has been saturated, like I was saying, by the diaspora vote. And we keep talking about preserving that ability for people who have left Dominica for over 10, 20 years in some cases, to return and to be able to vote. But how did these people end up in the diaspora? Nobody addresses that question. You know, how is it that we ended up having such a large diaspora in the first place? What it is in Dominica that has been the driving force pushing people basically out there in search of greener pastures? And we have a dilemma right now where we are almost on the verge of having a nation which is operated by proxy. You know, basically have the largest share of your population living externally, and those who are on island basically being a servant class. And when we talk about young people, and we talk about tourism and all these service industries, while yes, it's a job, you know, it's service industry, but it kind of, I don't want to put it, you know, because I don't want to knock the people who make their living in the service industry. But we cannot limit ourselves just to that. You know, that the people who have the money and have the means come on vacation and we have to cater to them. And our young people who have degrees, some of them have college education, some of them have high school education, and they are limited to that. Where is our productive and our innovative capacity? Why are we still importing laborers to carry out infrastructural development when we have so many young men sitting there, you know, day after day with nothing to do? So when you ask me that question, Lofty, I see it as, you know, there's a section of the young population that are basically, they are still catered for. Their parents may have means, they may have support systems, and there is a greater section of the young population that don't have those resources. They don't have that kind of support, and a lot of them are having children of their own, having families of their own. So when if you listen to your song, you know, Dice says that we should arm our young people, but the question is, what is it that we should arm them with?
True. Yeah.
You know, so I will stop there and I'll allow the conversation. I'll come back in.
Yeah, thank you very much, brother Flacco. I mean to say, you really put your finger on the pulse, as it were. Emma, same scenario to you. What is the true reflection on the ground, especially where young people are concerned?
Well, the young people, I should say, speaking from my experience and from my conversation with my peers, they are stuck. They are lost. And they are stuck and they are lost because it's like, to them, nobody likes politics. Nobody likes what it comes with. And I'm speaking out of a young person. To them, you know, we were all ignorant to the fact of what it really is. And which bring out to my point where the youth should educate themselves more as to what politics is. No. When it comes to that, no. Politics is in everything, and that is something I had to learn. Politics in the way we eat, the prices that we pay for items, the school our children go to, how they are even taught. Everything includes politics. Politics has a part to play in that. And why I say our youth is lost is because they according to Flacco, they accept everything that is thrown at them because they believe that, you know what, I need that. That is a monthly pay. I can use that. I can go here, there, and ask for something, and that is where they are. Some people, according to Flacco, again, they have the support system, some don't. And in the country currently, Dominica has nothing for the youth, but they do have it. There are opportunities that can be created, but at the end of the day, it's too much fighting one another, too much division. You understand? You have the older generation that is coming back again to bring down the younger generation where they don't want to give them a chance. No opportunity is given. At the end of the day, sometimes too, you can apply for a job. Let's use an example. You can apply for a job. And when you do apply for that job, they will be like, where is your experience? But at the end of the day, how am I supposed to gain that experience if you don't give it to me? So it's like the youth, I will not say the youth are not there, because they are there. You understand me? The youth are there. From my lives and from me pressing and talking, they are there. They are listening. The youth are there listening. They are watching every single thing and they are jotting down points. You understand me? It is hurting them. And I can say that because I can put myself in their shoes. And Dominica is a beautiful place. Nobody wants to leave. You understand me? And that is the next opportunity again, option for the youth. Is just go. And that is the thing. When we keep on in Dominica, we run away the youth of the country. When the youth is needed in the country, what is going to happen? Do you understand me? So I feel that we are able to reach somewhere if everybody comes together, and we come together to make a difference, not to fight among one another, especially in terms of the government, right? We need better employment, one, better education programs that can build and lift up the youth. If this is not there, if we don't hear the cries of the youth, if we abandon the youth, and with everything that is going on, you understand, Lofty? Look at it. I don't want to touch. It's like it has certain things that I want to touch on, but I don't know. I don't want to overstep so much. But let's use Portsmouth for an example, right? I'm going to use where I'm staying as an example. What it have other than going to a bar and drink rum? What does it have? All that is there for the youth is to go and party. Because at the end of the day, that's all they create. You have youths that are talented. You have people that can make things. You have people that push it. You have young employers, people that create their own business, making little gifts, making this, making that. There are young people that they have that strength in them, and they keep on. You know how depressing it is sometimes where you know you can do something, you try to get it done, and then you see that you're trying, it's not going nowhere. You understand me? So I should say, Dominica, we lost, we stuck. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say we are lost and stuck, because at the end of the day, the government too, I'm not going to put water in my mouth to say, the government is stuck. And they are just repeating themselves over and over, repeating themselves, eating down, bringing down people. You understand me? And unless that cannot be changed, even if we come and we tell them lift up and we tell them to talk, but things need to be done. Things need to be added to get that change. And that is again why I encourage everyone to come, speak, empower one another. Don't bring down one another. Let's do it together, because we can. We cannot say according to you, Flacco, that they believe that the only way for change will not be through a ballot. This is not supposed to be. If I am against what you are doing, you are not working for me, I am paying you to work for me, why should I support you? And that is where the young people need to have that mentality. They need to calm it down, because at the end of the day, it's not always about what somebody can give you, but it's about the near future. Where is our future going to be? Look at us. We are not going to be young forever, are we? No. What is our tomorrow? Is it promised to us? No. But at the end of the day, we have to build something for us and the near future behind us, because there are youths coming up to be in our position right now. And if it is hard for us now, currently, where you cannot get a job, you cannot buy a piece of land, you cannot, everything is sky high. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to sit down and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg and beg. And this is something I don't know. But I really find that bribery or giving people money or them things there, that should not be. You should allow people to build up themselves. You help them, but they build up themselves. If you keep on mouth feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding people, what is going to happen? They're going to keep on wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. But then again, as they always say, the water in the well, it will not run dry, but it will dry eventually. True. It will dry. But anyways, Lofty, before I go further,
Emma, there's a fire. I can feel, I can sense that fire within your bones, Emma, to deliver or help deliver young people in Dominica. And trust me, folks, you can hear it already coming through her voice. Flacco, Emma touched on a very critical situation there where young people is concerned, and I want you to expound on that a little bit, you as a young man, Flacco. Emma, you can come and double it up as well in terms of more live situations as to where that situation you mentioned. Flacco, in terms of young people entertaining themselves in Dominica today, what is there as it pertains to entertainment for young people? If a young man, a young woman decides to go out and have a good time, what are the options?
Well, I wonder if that is a rhetorical question, LFP, because
I must have said the same thing because I don't know.
because it is right now. It's about dulling the pain, dulling the everyday pain, and basically drinking and alcohol consumption, fetting, and even in that there are people who benefit from that, the economics of that, right? You have the DJs, you have all of these are young people. But what I'm saying is that it's all well and good to entertain yourself, as a young person. That is part of life, and especially as a young person, but it shouldn't be in an effort to dull or to drown your pain, or in that mode of escapism, trying to escape from a reality that by the time the fete finish and you go and sleep and you wake up the next day, bam, you're right back in the same shitty situation, And you said something, Emma, that is very, very, very valid. It's that our time is not unlimited. We're not here to live forever. We have to view our time as an asset. So the youth need to see their time as an asset, because every election cycle is 5 years added to their life. By the time 2 election cycles pass, that's 10 years of your life. You understand?
Well, you see, Flacco, the thing is, I don't want to cut you off there. The thing is, the youth, they do see that, but some of them, they are afraid. They are afraid to speak up. They are afraid that they will lose all for all. So at the end of the day, even if we tell them, stand up, rise up, what are they going to be losing? Are they going to lose what they already have if they stand up? And these are the questions the youth keep on asking. How can that change? So while you're touching on that,
yes. Emma, I can answer that. As long as we keep standing one by one in isolation, nothing will change.
And I agree.
Or each person that stand up in isolation going to have to bear a certain amount of pain on their own, right? Now back to the what you were saying there, that a lot of them are afraid because they think they might lose out. Mm-hmm. But consider this. Let's say we have an election cycle right now, and a politician or their team or their agent, whoever, comes and pays you $5,000 to vote for them as a bribe. Like you say, you're a young person, you're in a tough position, you're given that, and you take it. No, let's put that on the scale. And I think our young people need, especially those beyond the age of 18, those at voting age, with gainful employment, making $2,000 a month over that 5 years, you would be able to save up, let's say, $100,000. Let's do the max. So you're getting paid $2,000 a month. Times that by 1 year, that is $24,000 a year. Times that by 5 years, that is $100,000. So what is there to lose? What we need is for our young people to understand that the power is in their hand every time these so-called politicians come. And you see, we have to understand something, you know, as the academic, technical, and financial education that we received in school, has it helped to change or shape our circumstances?
No,
it hasn't.
it
And
hasn't.
you know why I think that is, because although we have academic education, we have technical education, we have financial education, we have no civic education. And if we don't understand our rights, your rights are the first set of property that you have. A newborn baby has a right to life. So if as a grown person, you don't have value on your rights, which is your property, and you see, if it was land, if we were saying, well, you know, somebody going to take your land, which is your property, a lot of us would be quick to take up a gun, take up a knife, you know, we go in and, but when we say somebody is violating your rights, which is your property,
They run and
we
hide.
we don't seem to understand that we need to fight for those rights just as much as we need to fight for the land. Okay? And the empowerment, when we talk about youth empowerment, where I believe youth empowerment starts now is by placing civics back in our schools. Because when we went right here where we are, we're waiting for everybody to get angry. We're waiting for everybody to start walking down the road to Roseau and shut down the country. But you know why that's not happening? Because we don't have a population that has civic education, that has civil education. All of these things are in place. Our constitution, the courts, the legislative, all of these things are in place to ensure that we can live in civility. And anytime those things break down, or we allow them to break down, then the first people to suffer are us. You know, no, those who are grown, who have basically gone through the 18 years growing up under this political system with no civic education, no, you know, how can we expect them to act? It's like you're telling me I have a piece of land over there, and in my mind, like, yes, I know I have a piece of land, you know, but I never see the paper to say, well, yes, I'm confident and I can commit myself to work on that piece of land and act. So our rights, which is part of what is our value, we don't have any sense of that. And if we want to have a population that will act when things like we have these constitutional violations, or when even our rights are violated, if we want a population that is reactive to that, then we have to start educating our babies.
True.
We have to start educating our little ones.
I agree.
And wasn't too bad. The government will not come to say they will want that to be taught, because as soon as you teach children what their future freedom is, then you will have them against every single point that they bring. So again, it's a slavery mentality here. And that is something that is in Dominica, because from the moment you cannot speak, okay, since when politics turn into the fact that if I talk against something, I losing what I have to lose my job, I losing my opportunities, or if I apply for a job because I am not in support of a political party, then it slammed the door in my face. They shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, your skills supposed to be shown and supposed to be paid on a level of how you are, who you are, not about how you think or who you support. Now, the youth want to, of course, the youth want to, all out there currently, the youth ready and want to just lash back. But at the end of the day, when I sat down and I think and I check in, boy, lash back how? Enough of our life has been lost. Enough of us doing things ravishly. We need to educate ourselves more because that is where we are lost. We are lost because we don't know what we are able to say, what we are not able to say. Anna, what that in here? What are we really saying? We're not saying anything. We're just saying what we're going through and what is happening in the country. We're not talking about anything more than that. How you as a young person, the only thing that is there for you to make money is for you to go and sell drugs, for you to go and hustle, for you to go and do this. Some of the other young people, they were actually doing ordering, right? They were doing ordering. Some of them were trying to order and sell. All you come back again, all you find too much people ordering because again, the employment for the young people, they don't have nothing. Everybody looking for something else. Do you know currently you have young people that is working 3-4 jobs in Dominica? And I remember the Prime Minister came and talked about saying, when you overseas, you work in whatever jobs. There are young people working them. You understand me? And worse than too bad, we also have to consider that when people, the other generation, they are overseas, they are working those 2-3 jobs. They are working not in a time period of 8 hours. When you're in Dominica, you start work, the time you start work, the time you finish. Where are you able to do another job? These are all the questions that should be asked. The youth is not against working. They are willing to work, but where is the job? Who is creating them? All you're studying is about building here and there. Building, I am not against the building. At the end of the day, we need it. But where is any opportunity to lift up the people? What is lifting them up? How are they? Okay, right. You know what that does burn me? It does hurt me. You will sit down there and you will see people overseas talking about young people where they graduate with honors and they come back and you see them making it in a job or some young person where they are not education, they don't have education, right? They have a high school diploma. With that diploma, you see them getting a little business and they're going further and further and further. How many young people we have there in that gap? Imagine it as some young people where they're doing nails, they're doing hair, and they are being pushed down and pat down and they're eaten down. That should not be. We have Chinese stores bumping up everywhere. You understand? Look at Portsmouth. We have 2 Chinese stores in Portsmouth. We have 2 of every different stores coming up. But you're not seeing nothing new where a young person can do that. That is wrong. And we as young people, and I will always encourage my peers, you should not be afraid to talk. Once you cannot talk, something is wrong. Because let's use that. I like to use terms where you see the difference between you and me, Flacco. You will give them terms. I will give them the ghetto youth. But what I will say, right? You have a man. Let's use it as that. They like that. You have a woman, you have a boyfriend. Let's go at that. You have a woman, a boyfriend. Now, you finding, boy, that person there, boy, the money not there. The money not there. You going and selling your soul because you see, boom, you seen somebody passing on a nice road and you're checking, boy, how can I do that for myself, boy? When you look, boom, somebody come and sip in your ears. What are you going to do? They're going to go towards the money. When they go towards the money, what is that going to bring them? And that is my problem with young people. When we get the money, it is going to finish. But when you get something that is stable, that you can stand up on, you build it and you rise, everything is not going to be there. So when you are given certain opportunities, that opportunity you are given there, they give it to you because of who you support. When who you support is not there, are they going to leave you there? Are you going to stay there? And these are questions I like to ask them, because it have young people where they have a degree. You understand me? Look at it, right? I had this friend and she finished her doctorate, everything, and she said, boy, not even doctorate, I should say, bank. She did accounting. She did that good. When she got all her degree, everything. And number one, that is something the government was supporting. They sending the children overseas to study. Boom, bam, fine. When they come back Dominica, they couldn't pay her for her degree. They could not pay her for her degree. So if this cannot be done, why don't they sit down to think and say, boy, how can we bring income that we are able to pay the people what they deserve? How is that going to happen? Because we can sit down there and talk. We can talk, we can encourage people to talk. But how is that going to change? And that is my take, where I will come and I will talk and I will tell people, you know what? Yes, we are talking. I want people to talk. I encourage them to speak, because if we don't talk about what is affecting us, how are people going to know? How are planning going to be done? You understand me? We have a lot of natural beauty in Dominica. We have a lot of youth who study certain how should I say it? Certain classes, right? For instance, you have somebody where I study nursing, another one study about trees, another one study about this and that. But at the end of the day, when they come back, it don't have work. It don't have work. So the problem currently in Dominica is the government, and I'm not going to hide to lie and say that. Because at the end of the day, once a government, it has nothing for a youth in a country, that country is going to flop, because that means the country has nothing. If we want people to come to the country, we want people to come, right? Who is going to come to our country? Who is coming? If we don't have no youth remaining in the country, who is going to be there? Who? Again.
But let me ask you that.
Yes.
Let me ask you. You follow any of the consultations, particularly maybe the one that went on in Marigot?
No, I think I stopped watched it when they were in Boy. Hold on. Let me be. I stopped watching before the one before Marigot. I stopped because I got vexed, and then I started to talk. No, I got mad. I'm being honest, because I am here where they came about the electoral reform, where everybody come and talk about things. And to me, electoral reform, I wouldn't even really touch on that, because people don't understand what electoral reform is. And that is where I will see that. Because people come and talk about politics, and I don't believe it should be so. Now, okay, you don't believe it should be so because your bread is buttered. But do you know your neighbor bread not buttered? Because your neighbor is not in standing with what you are doing. Do you know how much comments that was passed on that? And they're seeing that, and that's what I'm telling you.
Do they care? It's not sometimes they know, but sometimes they know, but do they care?
But they don't care.
That their neighbor don't have.
They don't care. Again, they don't care, because
the reason I ask you, Emma, is because you touching on something there that, and although it does upset me to listen to them sometimes, but I believe whenever we have to get past the anger, because there's a saying that whoever angers you controls you. So sometimes I move past the anger and I bring myself closer to listen carefully to what they are saying, because a lot of the wickedness is in their speech. You listen to them and actually hear what they say. So that consultation in Marigot in particular, the Attorney General was the one who was closing off the engagement. And at some point he said that in Dominica, we are not, going to create two classes of citizens. And I think he was saying that in response to the people, somebody was saying that people residing overseas should contribute taxes towards Dominica for them to be able to vote. And in response to that, he said that there shouldn't be two classes of Dominicans. We cannot create two classes of Dominicans. So if we impose a tax on the diasporans, then we in Dominica should also pay tax. He also went on to say that many Dominicans do not pay tax. And when he said that, I was puzzled.
No.
So
you see,
hold on. So I was puzzled, but then I kept listening, and he went on to say that majority of Dominicans do not earn
Hold on, you're
threshold. They do
hold
not
on a minute.
earn beyond $30,000, right? And to me, the Attorney General was basically saying that he considers anybody that does not pay income tax basically is not paying tax, which is false. Now, when you say that people are leaving Dominica and people are not coming back to Dominica, and you hear a statement like that from the Attorney General is basically telling us that he is aware of the mechanism that is driving Dominicans out of Dominica, the very lack of employment or gainful employment that you're talking about. That majority of Dominicans, he said many Dominicans do not pay income tax, but I will go on to say that majority of Dominicans do not pay income tax. And majority of Dominicans, by virtue of that, because they are not making over $30,000 a year, they are in economic bondage. They are in a situation where they can be bribed. Okay? They are in desperate situations, and the Attorney General
It's not they can be bribed, no, they are bribed.
But of course, because listen to this, Mr. Many times our rights are violated. Our children's rights are violated. And guess what? We are never in the place economically or financially to challenge those things so that we can set precedents in court. We are sometimes we have a clear case and we saying, boy, that $50,000 I have there, or that $25,000 there, how much of groceries that can buy for me, that can carry me food through the year. We are going and go in court with that. So I say in all of this to say that if we don't have confidence in the legal system, we are not economically or financially in the position to change our circumstance or to push back against the violation of our rights. And if we are saying that we have a population that is not interested, they don't know anything, we're not educated about reform and about, we don't want to engage in that. We are basically saying that we don't believe in the ballot system, and we do not believe that the ballot system will liberate us. And it's clear because look at Trilogy. Trilogy put one line way, Olio, it's time to take back our country. And that was like a matches. So the youth ready? The youth ready for change?
The youth is ready. The youth is ready.
But
and that is something.
The question is, are the systems of state that will allow us to create that change in a civilized manner? Are they ready?
No.
Because if they're not ready, and we're ready.
We're ready and they're not ready.
Well,
so what? Okay, fine. Now? We're ready, they're not ready. What is supposed to be done? This is why when you see I spoke on One of My Life and I said, it's better all of them step down, because all you need to allow the youth to get that opportunity to bring Dominica to where it's supposed to be. Because if we don't do that, we will lose all for all. Everything keep on dying. And number one, as I always say, the government is not going to stay there forever. You can never stay there forever. No man can live forever. You understand me? You cannot live forever. So if you cannot live forever, you know somebody is going to come there. So what are you doing? You keep on breaking the country. So what? When we finally decide, all you stepping down, what are we going to come to fix what?
But Emma,
something that is already broken, and we have to take bandages to try to put on it. We cannot do that.
Yeah, guys.
Go ahead.
Flacco, we at the top of the hour. Trust me, the conversation is going very nicely. People are riveted to their seat, as it were. It is 7 o'clock, and at that time, we usually take a break at that time. So, folks, just hold that fire, hold that passion. I saw, as I call him, the old guard is here. That is Alvin Thomas. He's here with us, so he'll be joining us at the end of that much needed break at this time. Folks, you're listening to the Civic Vibes conversation. It is streamed on Facebook and on YouTube. We're talking to Tyron Nicholas, better known as Flacco, and also Emusia Vigil better known as Emma. We're having a very interesting conversation thus far about the young people plight in Dominica. Take a listen to this, brother Dice talking about arming our young people. Thank you very much, brother Dice and Pat.
Nice again.
Folks, the numbers to call into the program after the break, they are on your screen. So please take a note of those two numbers that you can call into the program thereafter.
How many more decades round the street corner before society realize young people not breaking the law, they fighting a war? Dominica, open up your eyes. Cause all this rage and anger, hostile behavior, lack of respect on the public road, it means they can't take much more of societal neglect. So before this war explodes, arm them, arm them, arm them with the tools they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field of endeavor. They have their rights. They have the strength to fight. And if we do what's right, we win the peace. They win their war.
Thank you very much. Those of you on the live feed, good evening to you. Number of comments thus far. I read the program so far. Those of you in the UK listening at this time, special good evening. We'll be opening up those lines. So persons trying to call in from the UK, just hold a pause just a while. Okay, we'll open up those lines in just a bit.
How many more fatal traffic accidents? How many more children to be buried by parents when they flying their bike in the air like stuntmen? It's a show of open defiance. And while politics divide us, the country's best resource intoxicated and wasted away. Meanwhile, those who hold power, they really don't care, cause it's not they and theirs who'll be exposed to the dangers. Arm them, arm them, arm them with the skills they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field of endeavor. They have their rights. They really want to fight. But if we do what's right, we win the peace. They win their war.
A call to the young people of Dominica from the man Dice, he himself a young man going through the struggles in Dominica. Folks, let's get back to the live panel right now in the interest of time. I know you guys are enjoying every bit of it out there. So far, so good. Just before we introduce Alvin here, we want to give those numbers again, and the lines are open anytime after 7, and we are after 7 at this time. The numbers to call into the program, 615-9470 or 245-2396. Alvin, just before we go back to our special invited guests here who have been doing a very excellent job so far in terms of deliveries, greetings to you, my brother, and welcome.
Yes, Lofty, good afternoon, good evening, actually. It's 7:06. I could not have missed, although I was not there for the start, but from what I've heard so far from this young lady, they would say that's a firecracker. You know, firecrackers, when they crack them, you and you fly for cover because you're not sure where they're going to land. But yeah, I think the conversation has been going quite well. I'm so pleased. And my brother Flacco, of course, I always know where Flacco is coming from, a man with deep thought when he speaks. So I'm enjoying the conversation, and so as the folks online, as I can see a number of them are making their comments. So I am so happy to hear Emma saying, and I guess Flacco endorsed it as well, that the young people are ready. I love that. I love that. The young people are ready. And I think this is the misconception that some of us have. Those in power, and some of them feel that the young people are not ready, or they're not listening, or they're not assessing what's happening on the ground. But that's a myth. It's just a matter of time before they consolidate. So I enjoy the conversation, and I'll just sit back and listen.
All right, my brother Alvin, thank you very much for joining us here at the 7 o'clock hour. Emma, back to you, back to Brother Tyrone, but the lines are now open. So folks, if you have to call in, please make use of that time now. Yes, Emma, you and Tyrone, you guys on a roll. You can continue on that same trajectory. Whilst we're with some calls.
Yeah, well, I was just
thinking.
Yes, well, not really thinking, Emma. You were saying something that I wanted to respond to. Because,
all right, Tyrone, we already have a caller. Tyrone, let me just interrupt you just for one bit. Let's take that caller. Caller, yes, good evening to you. Welcome to the Civic Vibe Space.
Yes, Lofty. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Hearing you loud and clear.
Great. Good evening to the panelists. Good evening to you. Good evening to Alvin. Good evening to the listeners and to the persons online. As a young person myself, I felt that I needed to call in and congratulate the two who are on with you for their stance, for speaking out, for leading the charge. And I want to be very brief tonight. First of all, I just want to touch on something that Flacco said in relation to the Attorney General and his comments in Marigot re persons who are paying taxes. I want Flacco to understand, and others to understand, that you have to read between the lines when these gentlemen are speaking, because they have an agenda. And you have to understand the agenda that they have and the fact that they're trying to smooth things over in order to facilitate that agenda. When he refers to the fact that there are Dominicans who are not paying taxes, what he's really trying to do is to say that the Dominicans within the Dominican territory that are not paying taxes, and they have a right to vote. And so those of us who are in the diaspora who are not paying taxes as well, you cannot have an argument that says that since we do not live in Dominica and do not pay taxes in Dominica, that we should not have a right to vote. So that is where he's trying to make that link. He's trying to justify having diaspora Dominicans come in to vote based on the fact that the argument against them voting cannot be on the basis that they don't pay taxes, because they're Dominicans within Dominica who don't pay taxes. So that's the only reason he's raised it.
Lofty,
but we must understand that the reason why the call is being made for Dominicans in the diaspora to have that requirement, as Dominicans within Dominica have, that requirement for residents, is all because they're trying to create a fairer system whereby the persons who live in Dominica.
All right, and caller, we have a number of calls coming in, so can you just wrap up that point, make it short and sweet, please? Thank you very much. Yes.
Those who live in Dominica and suffer the consequences of the decisions made by those in leadership are the ones really who should be making the decision as to who leads them. And what the young people need to understand and recognize is that the leadership of the Labour Party has castrated even those who support them, removed that right from them to make that decision as to who should lead them, who should represent them in Parliament. The Prime Minister is the only one who makes that decision now. I thank you for the time.
All right, caller, thank you very much for your points raised here. Thank you very much indeed. Flacco, while you wait on some other calls coming in, you wanted to respond?
Yes, I think I recognize the caller. I think that is Mr. Arlene. Yes, Mr. Arlene, I am well aware of the agenda. However, it is disingenuous to say that for the Attorney General or anyone to say that many Dominicans do not pay taxes, because by virtue of VAT, consumption tax, and all of these, all Dominicans living on island pay tax. Mm-hmm. So there are really no Dominicans who do not pay taxes, no matter how small it might be. But yes, every Dominican living on island contributes towards taxes. I just wanted to make that clear. But what I wanted to say to you, though, Emma, is the public trust. Public trust is very important, you know, when you talk about politics, because if you look at history, you have, for example, we can talk about Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette wasn't removed by the ballot. The people came crying to her that they couldn't afford bread. They were complaining about the price of bread. And because of her disconnection from the people, from her not understanding the plight of the people, she responded and told them that they should eat cake. And she lost her head for that. So we have to understand that public trust is very important. Public trust has the potential to tip the scales from you being in the majority to you being in the minority. So when I look at what's going on and the majority of us disagreeing with what's going on with us and our situation, our condition, we have to understand that the state, when we talk about the state is really a majority party that wills the legitimate use of force. That means when people rise up against injustice, like for example, in the case of Ali Bongo and so on, just by that majority, their use of force is legitimized. When people come together to fight back against injustice, they find their actions just, they don't need a court to tell them that their action is justified. So our people in the legislative, our government officials have to be very careful with how they handling the situation, because people are becoming aware, you know.
Yeah. This is something I said, I think I mentioned it on my last live, because at the end of the day, when you see people keep on taking, and that's something I press on, when people take, and they decide to retaliate against, there is nothing you will do. The only thing you want to do is legal forces against them. And that will be already, Dominicans already going, and you know already they don't much. Again, more lives again to lose. And there are people that I know currently that are ready to put their neck on a brick, I should say, ready to lose their life for what is right. So at the end of the day, we don't want to see that. But how can this change? How can this change? And that is something I like ideas. So everybody that call it, how would you change that?
True.
You understand me?
Yeah, and that is where, Emma, we want to direct the conversation in the second leg, in the second part of the program, in that what can young people, we're having a young people's conversation this evening. How can young people come together in meaningful ways to help change you guys' reality or realities that you guys keep speaking about tonight? That is where we want to sort of climax the conversation tonight. So wrap your minds now around what encouragement can you give? What encouragement can young people get from you guys as it pertains to solving the problems of young people in particular?
Well, one of the options I can give as a person is that we are too divided in Dominica, especially the youth. Because currently,
Emma, what is causing, what you think is causing, or the root of that
division is
division?
Everybody putting themselves in. What I think is causing that is everybody goes where they feel comfortable. You understand me? So I will not feel comfortable in that group don't ready yet. I will not feel comfortable. I want a group that is ready to go. But I believe if everybody come together, then they will get that agenda done. Because I was grouped into probably maybe 10 different groups, roughly about that, with the same agenda. They are against Dominica. So why you have 10 plus small little groups in a coup and all you know come to formulate one thing with one agenda? And the one agenda is we have to get out of that slavery mentality in Dominica. And that is by us stop keeping everything on the shoo and you open your mouth to say what is affecting you. First, you start by, showing the people. When you start to show, you encourage somebody else to show as well. Because if we keep on saying silent, how would somebody know you are hurting unless you don't open your mouth to say, hey, I am hurting? I cannot come and talk for all the youth of Dominica, can I? No. But if 50 or 100 plus youth come to stand with me to talk about what we are facing, at the end of the day, it will make a change because, everybody will relate. Now, there are other options where, we some people, they felt, hey, you know what, I want to rally, I want to strike. When you feel, when you sit down and you think of that, checking, boy, would that make a change? Or would we come firstly to educate our peers because we realize, hey, our eyes are open. How do we open the rest? How do we do that? We come by first, going from community to community, the same amount of people who wants to come, and we teach, we encourage, we get ideas, and we build Dominica. Because Dominica, one man cannot run Dominica. A team can run Dominica. We, the people, will help run Dominica because we are the ones with the ideas. We are the ones who come to say, hey, you know what? I think we need to have some sporting program. I think we need other education program. I think our education needs this and that because we are lapsing. How do we get that to get ourselves outside? Look at it, Lofty. Yeah? Our education system in Dominica, Dominica have a lot of smart young people. And when you see they reach, they end high, I should say primary school. From primary school level, imagine I saw this young boy. I tell him, hey, how do was the common entrance? The boy told me, that was easy, man. I said, that was easy, man. I come in to find out, when I meet him, after his graduation, I met him. I asked him, hey, how did you do? He told me he got a scholarship. I said, you got a scholarship? He's checking yeah, but the country don't have money. Just so the boy said it in grade 6. So our youth know.
Yeah, man. But Emma,
all right. Yes. Just before we go, folks, the numbers to call again. I want to repeat those numbers. They are 245-2396. I'm seeing a lot of comments on the live feed. Please save my voice, save Alvin's voice by calling into the program 615-9470. All right. Thank you. Flacco, sorry about that.
Yeah, man, no problem. Yes, so Emma, I was just saying what you right on point with where you're going, and I want to just add to what you say that we need to make small baby steps, basically. We might not be able to put the whole bread in our mouth, but we can take small bites. And I think in that same drive for education that we're talking about, I think, and I want to hit back on that again. Right now, we have a hemorrhaging where we have a lot of people with all the academic skills, all the technical skills, but no civic education. We need to stop that. So I think that is one of the small steps that we can take. We can move towards achieving that.
You see, the thing is, it's not we can take, because at the end of the day, the government, if you watch it, I think you have a son like me. My son goes to school, and our education system is high. The primary school level education system is high, because things that they taught me currently in high school, they are teaching it to them in primary school. So their minds are opened. Yeah. But after the primary school education level, is like, what is going on? All you're seeing is young girls in a school. It's like parents, family, their children is here and there, and it's not parents at family, because at the end of the day, the parents under stress. Now, these civil vibes, I agree that it should be taught in the school. It should be taught, but it also should be taught at home too, in communities too. Because we'll not get it in the school one time. Getting it into the school means that it has to go through the government. And if the government is in agreement to that, but we as a citizen, we teach our children. So if we can teach them what government is, only let them understand. Let our children, before I used to go passing by the road, I hear somebody, I'm a radio station on. Going on the bus, I hear a radio station, and that is why you should hear everything that is going on in the country. My mother, when it comes on news, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, early morning, you hearing all those things there. Currently now, you hearing that? Do you hear that? It don't have that anymore. So how do the youth learn? How do we expect them to learn? You understand me? They need to learn by firstly us bringing it out to them. And that is something I will stand across. Firstly, we bring it out to them before we teach it in the schools. Because we know already the schools is a battle. That battle there, we have to go against to stand against the whole government of Dominica, and we have to decide to rewrite the whole education system. And again, young people, young parents, again, we teach our children at home. Education starts at home. We have to teach them their rights. The same way, if somebody do them something in school, you will tell them, hey, you be done. Tell them, no. That is your right. Somebody cannot abuse you.
Emma, yes, but you see, while I agree with you, I tend to see that as a part of the reason why we have all these small groups. Because yes, you have little people teaching in those that have time, because remember, a lot of parents don't even have the time to sit down and do homework with their children, And you have, because of that, because it not being a systematic drive to ensure that across the board in classrooms from primary school, from first grade, we educating our children. So then we have an army of people that educate it. That's why we keep having these little groups, because we keep being afraid to confront the government. Why we have a government in the first place? If every time we want to adapt a way to get around the government, we have to confront that head on. Listen to this, Emma.
I agree to that.
If I go to the court right now as a grown man, you know what the court will tell me? The court will tell me that ignorance of the law is not a defense. So how are we raising a population with no civic education, with no basic understanding of what they're living in? We pound on the Bible. We say, thou shalt not kill. We send our children to church every Sunday. So why we cannot pound on the Constitution and let our children know that they have a right to life? And so we need to get that in a systematic way.
Because at the end of the day, let me answer that there. Because at the end of the day, right, the people ourselves or the adults ourselves are not even educated onto what
True.
civil rights is.
True.
And that is why we touch on that. So
True.
if you as the adults don't know what you're about, how can you teach it to them? Because look at it in school. I totally understand what you're saying there. You know, what you're saying there is true. But who is going to do it? Do they understand what it is?
I can volunteer. I can volunteer. You know, because it needs to start somewhere.
Yeah, it needs to start somewhere.
Like a little Floyd's club. They have a little Floyd's club. Have it like that.
Exactly.
Have it like that. And I totally agree to you on that. But again, it comes down to the government. Again, the governments keep on bashing down, keep on eating down. Because number one, as much as we have education, and that's something I will touch on in Dominica, and I will say it here, everything cannot be about education, because it's not everybody that is educated that can how should I say it? They're intelligent. It's not everybody that can. It have people where, you know what, I can build. I don't know how to read a book, but I can build. It has some children, you'll be shocked to see that Dominica is focused too much on the education and on the opening the minds of the young people, that they fail to realize that there are skills. We need skills too.
True. All right, Emma, I can feel the fire still going through. Thank you very much. I'm there listening very, very intently to you guys in terms of the interest that the conversation generates here. I saw Alvin had his hand up. Alvin want to make a comment, and then thereafter, again, folks, the lines are now open. It's already 7:30. Please make use of that time if you want to engage the young people. All right, Alvin, yes, go right.
Yeah, well, just quickly though, I heard Emma talking about community like community. I love that. That's an approach. And I hear Flacco talking about the civic training or civic education. So my question to both of them is that, how can we make that happen? If they have any ideas, how can we, and I like that approach. Well, how do you think we can make that happen? Like they said, the urgency of now is there.
Well, Alvin, we have had movement in that direction already, you know. I mean,
yeah, I was just about to say that.
If we right here, right now, what we're doing, and
that's a part of it.
Yes, and like Emma was suggesting, you know, having the small groups, the community, you know, like I was suggesting, baby steps. We might not get there overnight, but we have to understand that we have to get there. And we cannot ignore the elephant in the room. Right? Look at the other day, like I refer him back to the trilogy initiative. I think that would be an awesome item to put on that agenda. And if the National Youth Council would support it, to me, I don't see anything detrimental or anything but good that can come out of us reintroducing civic education in our school system.
True.
Basically.
Well, he asks the question, how? I believe how we can start it first starts at home. It starts with us.
Yeah.
It starts by us educating ourselves. If you don't ask, that's something I like to say. You don't understand something, you ask a question. You are lost, you ask, you be educated. And Lofty can tell you that, because it had things I tell you, I didn't understand, and I keep on calling Lofty. I say, Lofty, one of them, they say, you must block me. You know, I tell it to him, I tell him, Lofty, you block me, because at the end of the day, it have things I didn't know. And he broke it down for me and tell me, Emma, no, watch it so. And, you know, I started to open my mind again, start to teach ourselves. And then we move, we go, we educate somebody else. And also, you know, right there and then, we there was this, I don't want to say exactly who she is. I'll leave that one there in the coup. But you know, I met this young lady, and she came to me and spoke about the same thing I talk about there, the communities, and come, let us start something, let us form a group, let us do something to educate the people. And she's willing So at the end of the day, this again, what again she did not know is that there are people, and what I will encourage you, let me make sure I get the Mr. Thomas, is that currently in the back line, there are groups and there are people that is beginning to do exactly that. It has started. The
Yes.
young people have started to
Awesome.
rebel. They are starting to open their mouth. They are starting to stand up for their rights, and they are coming together as one people to encourage and to say, hey, you know what? The youth are there. And that is what we were waiting on, but they are there. They are listening and they have started a movement. Even if we don't know everything that is going on, and I will not say everything that is going on because at the end of the day, everything has a time and place. And the
True.
time and place is, it is coming. It is going to be great. And I am happy to be part of that generation because
True.
we are there and we are awake.
True.
Absolutely,
And-
man. Absolutely. I love that. I love that.
And Alvin, let me just, as it will, let the cat out of the bag. The Civic Vibes team now, which you are part of, Alvin. We are spearheading that effort as we speak to go into the trenches, go into the communities to, as Flacco and Mrs. Vigil is saying tonight, spread that word, touch, press flesh with one another so that whatever the government is trying to block us in the school in terms of the education that we need, that can be heard in the communities. And that is what matters. And so those of you on the live feed, please feel free to reach out to Alvin, myself, any member of the Civic Vibes team, so that you too can make your contribution to the cause. You too can be part and parcel of that team. You can work with us in the communities to be spreading that gospel, spreading that good tidings about Dominica. And trust me, once that is done, change has always happened from the ground up. And I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I endorse what Lofty have said. We've been talking about that for quite some time. And as Lofty know, the youth, that's my peeve. That's my pet peeve. He knows that. I pound it day in, day out. We gotta get them, engaged, energized. And I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled by what I'm hearing today. So as Flacco say, first smile starts with the first step. And that is how we're going to do it. But I like Emma's energy that we need to reach out to the community, but start at home too. Do it in our own little way. Like the one famous president of the United States, John F. Kennedy, said, that's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do. So each of us can do in our little way.
Yes, indeed. Folks, at this time, let's take a little musical break, and then give your voices a little break as well. And we're going to come back to the live discussion in just a bit. Yes, we're going to do this from Brother Nasir Fontaine, basically asking us as a people to unite. Let's do this one, Dominicans. We'll be back in just a bit.
We've got to unite. We've got to unite. Come on, people, say we've got to unite. Brother and sister, say we've got to unite. Why can't we unite? Lord, I want to know why, why can't we unite? Lord.
All what we are speaking about, without unity, it cannot be achieved. So we need to come together and unite in very genuine ways as a people.
United we stand, so divided we fall. We must unite, topple these walls, Lord. 400 years, divided too long.
Darren, Yad, I'm seeing you saying you in that. So we will be reaching out to you. All right. Thank you, my brother.
We must be strong. Whoa, 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 whoa. Every time I look around, I see my people suffer, Lord. Every time I look around, I seem to feel the pain. Why
All right, Alvin, I have a job for you. Take note of some of the comments that I would allow you to go through or have you go through in just a bit. Some of them are poignant comments here. All right, Alvin, after the break.
Certainly, certainly.
Unite, black and white. Why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, can't we unite?
For those of you who may have just tuned in at this time, we are basically winding down a very informative, a very educational program here with two young people, Emma and Flacco, talking about the young people's plight in Dominica and just how that can be remedied.
People say we've got to unite. Get yourself together, say we've got to unite. So why can't we unite? Why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, can't we unite? Come together. Why?
To all the young people listening and viewing this program, good evening to you as well.
Why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, can't we unite? Oh, harder than the road will open a gap. Forcing on fighting can only keep us apart.
We have to change the tide for Dominica's sake, huh?
We must unite so we can be strong. Whoa, 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 whoa. Every time I look around, I see my people suffer. Every time I look around, I seem to feel the pain. Why can't we unite? Why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, can't we unite?
Alvin, you're getting ready to go through that feed?
Yes, Lofty.
Why can't we unite?
Thank you, Brother Nasir. Indeed. Let's get back to the live feed here. And Alvin.
Yeah, well, we have Gerald Joseph who said we need to have a lot more conversation like this. And certainly, let me say to Emma and Flacco, you have just begun. So you're going to be part of that conversation moving forward. Usually there's a part 1, part 2, part 3, maybe 5, 6, and 7. Then we have Darren Yard saying we have to break that nonsense, meaning that what's currently obtains with the administration and young people. You think is me. That's what is there. You think is me. Lofty Flacco, take your spot now. You say
well, it's the young people's time. I said that from the outset. So, brother, that's all well and good.
Yes. He's saying that Lofty, you can take a vacation now. So Flacco takes that spot. Ashby Scotland said, Lofty, great program tonight. Real talk. And we have Marshall Lawrence saying we need to also have a skill set minded. I guess that is based on what Emma said, that you can only focus on the academics. Yes, that's important, but there's the technical skills. There are kids who are good with their hands, and therefore we have to focus on that. It reminds me though, when I was growing up as a young boy, the grammar school, as you know, had a technical wing, because you had those that were academically inclined, but you have those that were technically inclined. And you had an academic wing where folks would go and do electrical, plumbing, and all that type of stuff. Also, we had the public works department. The public works department wasn't just a public works department, you know, but it was a training ground. Folks like the late what's his name now? Loverty, and several other folks.
I thought you were gonna say the late Lofty, man.
Loverty and several folks learned their skills there at that public works department. But guess what this government did? I understand they sold that public works department to a private individual. So it tells you where their priorities are.
It has no skills being taught in school, you know.
Absolutely.
There are no skills, none.
Yeah. And then we have young people call in time, let our voices be heard. That is from, okay. That's coming from Vigil. And then we have, what we got again, Lofty? Kudos. Great program. Glenda, Lavido. Is that what it is, Lofty?
Lavido, meaning sweet life.
Lavido. Glenda Lavido Burton. Kudos. Great program. Marshall Lawrence again saying, great, the youth can get together, explore innovation, creativity, and get economically inclined. There's some urgency worldwide in that regard. So the comments are really positive. A lot of them coming in support of what they're hearing. And like I said, I think we have just scratched the surface.
True. Let me just, if I can go for some comments as well, Alvin. Chiquito Thomas said, if I was home, I would have been with you guys doing this. Chiquito Thomas, you being over there, it is no different of a situation. You can call in if your comments, you can be part and parcel of what is happening in your Dominica. All right, Chiquito, so you being wherever you are, it really and truly don't make a difference at all. Who we have here as well, we have Youtholi Vidal. She says here, we need to have an open mic with the young people in different villages. Darren Yard says, I in that want to be part of this. And so, yes, Darren, I'll be reaching out to you personally. Bernard Allen says, and those very supporters do not realize how they are being used to forward the agenda of the leadership, that of protecting the legacy, the election legacy that is of one man. Ashby Scotland writes, slow and steady wins the race for Dominica. Unfiltered diasporas, right? But is uneducated people scared as teaching in the schools now? All right. Karen Joseph writes, in the same way that our children are taught the national anthem and the meaning of the flag and the coat of arms, they should be taught their basic constitutional rights, their responsibilities and duties as a citizen, regardless of age. And so that is what we're talking about in terms of this, the civicness of the education system that has long gone out of the window. And I think it should be brought back. But as Emma said, we bringing it back, it may be a challenge as well, because the type of government, let me be straight up, we have here today, these people do not, and I repeat, do not want persons to be empowered, especially where our rights are concerned. So as we said, bringing that into the communities, Emma suggested teaching it at homes to our young ones. That is maybe a way that we can start. Marcelin Ed was right. Parents, be your own first teacher. Teach them their rights. Teach them their role in society. Teach them what is good governance. Teach them democracy. Teach them what a dictatorship is. Teach them what a dictatorship is and why they should be taken down. That is Marcelin Edwards' comments here. Dory Drago writes here, do we still have small groups in the communities like we had in the days gone by? No. That is an all-important question. So Alvin, the comments are here. But Flaco, Emma, I really wouldn't want us to leave this program tonight. And I know Alvin will support me in that point as well. I really don't want people, although Flaco hinted to it, Emma hinted to it on you guys' opening statements, but we have much more people here now. So let us just drive home the point as we bring the program to a wrap in just a bit. Flaco, as you said, you're a man on the ground. You walk the ground. You feel the pulse of the people. Emma, yourself, you talk the talk. A lot of persons love that sort of talk that a lot of young persons can relate to, the real ghetto talk, as it were, the real raw talk. You guys, Emma, Flaco, give us an idea of, your challenges, your experiences. Speak to your own personal situation now in Dominica as a young person.
Okay, can I start, Flaco? Is it okay?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, no problem.
Well, my personal experience, I would say, has a lot to do with the healthcare system. Now, that is something by itself, if it has to be touched on, is our own broadened topic. But other than the healthcare, My problem in Dominica, other than the jobs, again, we don't have jobs. The economy is broken in terms of things are too expensive. And things are too expensive where you will see, for example, you will see they have a kind of tuna for $5 because too the pay cannot sustain how should I say it, that economic pricing. You have in terms of, okay, for instance, the porting system. The porting system is it's too high. But then again, the government is unable to get money, so they bleed the people. But you cannot expect to bleed the people when the people cannot do nothing for themselves. So firstly and foremost, we need an increase in pay to sustain the increase in the economy. The healthcare system needs, the healthcare system needs a reset from top to bottom. And it's because we look at no medication, no this, no that. You understand me? And then again, the healthcare system also again is failing too, because the people don't have money to take care of their own self. Again, it comes back to jobs are needed, money needs to rotate in the country. You understand me? People they are getting up every day for 8 hours a day, getting paid for what? $6, $7, $8 an hour, $9. You understand me? This is honestly ridiculous, and I'm speaking from a modest point of view. Even if there are two salaries in a home, there is no way possible that a young person is supposed to be able to do anything for themselves other than to take that money to go and get drunk and enjoy themselves. Because you cannot save from that. You cannot do anything from that, because at the end of the day, it's too little. You have even doctors, nurses, everybody's getting nothing. That is why right now we don't have nurses in the healthcare system now. Doctors are migrating, nurses are migrating, because at the end of the day, we Dominica has nothing. Teachers are even going. Salaries need to be raised properly, not being raised by $100 or by $30 or something where it's actually reflecting the social security. Because tell me if I'm wrong, if the more money you get, the more social security you pay. When is social security going to come to an end? Every year it is going up, but people's salary is not going up. No, these are pointers again. But anyways, let me leave the rest of Flacco.
Boy, Emma, what you say in there is so true. You know, I have 3 little girls. Well, 2 not so little and 1 little. And I know, yes, it's a challenge. You know, the cost of living is ridiculous. And I consider myself one of the fortunate ones, because I have that, I have that support system, and I have some, you know, I have some blessings. I'll leave it at that. And I still run into the difficulties of the average man and wonder how some people make it day to day, you know? Mm-hmm. Because I have I'm employed, and I have a small business of my own. And honestly, sometimes when I look at other, you know, when we talk about small business in Dominica, and I sit back and I look at it, I see a lot of that we are delusional. We are delusional bunch of people. I see us, you know, going in a dry river with a canoe, and we trying to float in that. When we talk about an economy, so I see like all these small business owners going in a dry ravine with a canoe and expecting, you know. Mm-hmm. So when I look at, I have products. Sometimes, you know, it have seasons when the turnover is pretty good, but the rest of the year is like, you know, snail space. And I know that we talk about national prosperity and all of this, and we don't seem to be in that place where we can enjoy each other's charity, because in order for us to enjoy prosperity, all of us have to be in that position where we maybe have a little disposable income, so I can go by my friend, bar, and I can spend an hour or two there, buy some drinks, patronize my other peers and their small businesses and so on. But when you have cash flow, cash flow is like nil in certain seasons. I tried doing, for example, doing an e-commerce setup so that I could sell some of my products on Amazon and so on. And our local banks are not able to facilitate that. There's no banking relationships that will enable us to come out of that seasonal sales business. Even if vendors on the Bayfront should be able to put their products online and receive sales worldwide.
But again, the government again running them.
Yeah, but to do that, I have to actually go. I have to actually go the route of registering an LLC in the US and accept payments through there. So all of that.
By the way, Flacco, I don't want to trip you. We have many persons listening and viewing, especially persons living outside of Dominica. Can you just, in a nutshell, alert us as to what type of business you're into? Maybe some persons out there want to support you.
Well, I'm an IT professional, but what I try to break out of that and get into agro processing, honey production, particularly.
Okay.
And well, right now I have my own brand, which is Freddy's Honey. You can find it at S-Mart and ACS, Miniers, and so on.
You says Freddy's
yes,
Honey.
Freddy's Honey. But beyond that, I see a massive potential in apiculture in Dominica. And I went to the agricultural department the other day and I was asking, why is it that more young people are not engaged in apiculture? Because it's something that you do have to even be able to read and write
because I can answer that.
But I see that as a potential industry, and we need to get the people that are not academically inclined engaged. I see honey like the banana industry, You remember when the banana farmers will actually go in and buy their pick of cash? I see the honey as a path to that in that generation. But the linkages are not being made. The people that are taking advantage of that opportunity are the people that already have.
Yes.
So the people, like people in Tarish Pit, people in Yampis, people in Stock Farm, people in the rural communities, you don't hear nothing about that. Just this afternoon, or I believe yesterday, there was a cooperative meeting and you could count the number of people in there. So why is it that our youth are not being educated or informed about the economic potential of apiculture? Just this year, I make $8,000 in under 6 months. And I was telling Alvin that I want to begin a training program because I am trained, I'm certified, and I wanted to start a training program in places like Tarish Pit, in my area, Rosal North, that I could set up clusters in the small communities and train some young people to get involved. And I'm hoping that maybe even here that I could solicit the support of the viewing audience to help in whatever way they can.
But Flacco, sorry to cut you off a little there. You were speaking about that in terms of Stock Farm and Tarish, but now I'm from there, so I can tell you one of the schools who takes skills to the next level is actually the Goodwill Secondary School. And the Goodwill Secondary School, currently there are people where They graduate and they know how to sew. They teach you your skills. If you can do agriculture, if you can do this, if you can do that, they take that very seriously in the Goodwill Secondary School. And this is why it bleed my heart when I saw that since after Maria, only now they're talking about rebuilding the school. Again, politics again, the government again. Yeah. You have only one high school. And I think we have the Seventh-day Adventists, I think, trying to, they touch on everything. But at the end of the day, only one school that is teaching skills. And that one school is supposed to be higher than where it is at. But because now the community or the constituency don't support the labor, they turn their back on them again. Yeah. So that is the thing again. But anyways, I don't want to, yeah.
But I believe though, it like you said, we have to start somewhere. So I offer in myself, and I know that when the participants, because just like me, once I began to reap the economic benefits of my commitment to what I was doing, then I became even more involved, and then I began to reach out to other people. In fact, I have two gentlemen in the stock farm area that I have already put on the path. I've already helped them to set up their yard, set up a few boxes of their own. I've given them all of the knowledge that I've had. And right now, I've basically told them that, now is the time for them to start to practice on their own. And whenever they need me, they'll call me. And what I've impressed on them is that now that they have that ability, what I want them to do is teach somebody else.
True.
And one by one, we can free each other economically through that initiative.
Yeah. So, folks, I know there's much more to be said, but it is already 3 minutes, just 3 minutes to that, finish mark, as it were. So we have now to sort of really bring the program to a wrap. I'm going to ask Flaco, Emma, closing comments, and then bring it across to Alvin for his, pulling together the conversation tonight. But just before we do that, Flaco, I didn't know Flaco. I knew you for a very long time, and I never knew you in that, organic honey business. So, brother, I will for sure do some patronizing, and I will spread the word from my end as well, because, I'm a roots man, I'm a grounds man, all nooks and cranny. So
yeah,
I will do my best, brother. What I want to tell you too, Flaco, is I hope that, a minister or a higher person don't take that opportunity that you vented here tonight and basically try something in that department. Because what I saw, Flaco, what I saw with my eye, a past minister of government that's supposed to be well off financially, I saw, nobody didn't tell me, that brother driving a GA vehicle, delivering bell peppers from his production, I'm being told, to a supermarket one morning in Dominica. And when I saw that, I cringed. I am saying, how could he was a sitting minister then, past minister now, be so selfish by taking bread out of the ordinary Dominican's mouth, as it were? Leave that opportunity, leave that chance for the people on the ground, the people who are struggling to survive. You have enough. And I mean to say, I don't want to knock these business places too hard, but to me, there's supposed to be policies in place where these people even acquire or get their stuff to resell to the public. There's supposed to be some kind of thing put in place to safeguard.
It's great. Because Lofty, if you watch, they cool the banana industry and any agriculture industry, because currently now you see it have ministers that actually have that. They have their farm where they come in and resell. You understand me? They cool in it. They're coming back again to have the same farmers who work for them, and they're still paying them what? $40 a day. They don't even want to pay them the actual money it worth to be farming. You know how much sweat you have to put into farming?
I just
You know
want
how
to
much blood and sweat?
I just want to contrast that a little. So most of these ministers, well, average, their salary would average, let's say about $7,000-8,000 a month, right? So that would be about close to $100,000 per year. And you have the Attorney General telling you that majority of Dominicans live below the tax threshold of $30,000. So you have this man making upwards of $80,000 a year, taking bread from the mouth of the man that barely making $30,000 a year. Okay? The man, just look at Grand Bay. They arrested a gentleman for planting cannabis in Grand Bay. Most likely that man was unemployed. That man was below the tax threshold. He was not making $30,000 a year, but he was brought to the court and he was fined $25,000. Where will he get that $25,000 to pay the court? Alone? So we have to, I know that it is not the ghetto talk, but we have to challenge our minds to wrap around certain things, because the people we up against, they are very cunning. Sometimes they tell us the truth in our face because they know we cannot,
blinded.
You know. So we have to be very careful. They are dangerous people.
Yeah, guys, it is 2 minutes past our stoppage time, and so I have to go around the table now. Folks, thank you for viewing. Thanks for listening, your comments. The caller we got, thank you very much for, I know you guys are enjoying the conversation. Flacco, let us start with you, brother, in terms of your closing comments. Again, on behalf of the Civic Vibes team, thank you for taking time off your Sunday and being here with us in the flesh, talking young people's business.
Well, Lofty, I want to say again, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your effort to take the time out every weekend and to commit yourself to pushing that agenda, to pushing that education, And I want to place my support, not just behind you, but behind any initiative that Emma might choose to take. And I will avail myself in whatever way that I may be needed, to assist. Alvin, salute to you, brother, again, co-piloting this initiative. And I look forward to having another great discussion in the future at any time that you guys see it. Thank you for the opportunity again. On behalf of me and, well, I guess I can say the guys at Moonsevier.
Yes,
everybody.
The brothers at Moonsevier. Big up.
Yeah, man. Salute.
All right. Thank you. Emma.
Well, Lofty, again, I would like to say thanks to everyone for coming on board, all those who listen to us tonight. And, Lofty, thanks for the opportunity, because I would have never seen myself right now speaking like this or being in defense to the country, especially for the younger generation. And I say thank you for the opportunity. And I would leave this there. Young people like me, we are not getting younger. We need to look for something for ourselves. And in order for us to get something for ourselves, we have to come out under that poverty. And the only way to come out from the poverty is by us standing and rising. So I will leave this here. Come together. United we stand, and that's something I will stand by. United we stand, no division. Even if we don't like that person, we can lift them up. We share a helping hand. Have yourself a good night. Blessed, Lofty, and Mr. Thomas. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Lofty. You have done a lot. I have seen you on nights and nights, and a weekend, and you are there on 2 stations back to back. You understand? And that is again strength, where we don't see that. We don't see the behind chapters. And you all are doing enough. All you are doing. That is why I am a person now. I will voice now, because you know, it's needed. But anyways,
You'll
have
join.
yourself
You'll join. You'll join your strength with the cause. I know that. Thank you.
Amen. Yes.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, guys. Alvin, what else can you say, Alvin, after these two firecrackers?
I'm trying to figure out if there's anything left for me. You know, I mean, the old soldiers like myself, I want to pass on the banter. I want to pass on that banter to Emma and Flacco. And let me see how impressed I am with these two individuals today. Of course, I'm meeting Emma for the first time, but Flacco and I go way back. He's someone I believe in. He's someone I'm in regular contact with. He has my support, and I will continue to support him and his team in whatever he wants to do on the ground. I'm so proud of him. And Emma, as I said, I can see the fire in you, and that's what I love. And I'll tell you one thing. I hope those gentlemen on the feed don't get mad with me, but history sometimes shows you it takes the women to lead the movement and to make change happen. The Underground Railway who freed the slaves in the US was a woman. Even when Martin Luther King was raising all the hell, Rosa Parks was the one who one day said, you know what, to hell with that, I tired with that, I'm not going to move. And we had this big Montgomery strike, and the rest is history. So we know the power of that woman, both in terms of their action, their voice, and I can see that in Emma today. And I would encourage all the other young women listening to join with her and the young men to come on board. And I believe change is around the corner. As this song by Sam Cooke goes, change is around, change is coming. So I want to wish you guys all the best. I will continue to do as much as I can in my own little way. And I'm so encouraged by what I'm hearing. And I think we need to continue that engagement. That is what Civic Vibes is here for. So that is just a start. And I'm pleased that you guys have committed and will commit for us doing just that, to take back our country.
How many more decades round the street corner before society realize young people not breaking the law, they fighting a war? Dominica, open up your eyes. Cause all this rage and anger, hostile behavior, lack of respect on the public road, it means they can't take much more of societal neglect. So before this war explodes, arm them, arm them, arm them with the tools they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field of endeavor. They have their rights. They have the strength to fight. And if we do what's right, we win the peace. They win their war.
Brother Denison, Dice, Joseph, and Pat Aaron, thank you very much indeed. A lethal combination in Kaiso in Dominica. Whenever I hear this one directed at the young people, it brings me shivers. So folks, that is it for us right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How many more fatal traffic accidents? How many more children to be buried by parents? when they flying their bike in the air like stuntmen. It's a show of open defiance. And while politics divide us, the country's best resource intoxicated and wasted away. Meanwhile, those who hold power, they really don't care, cause it's not them theirs who'll be exposed to the dangers. Arm them, arm them, arm them with the skills they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field.
Arm the youth with the skills that is needed.
They have the right
to secure a bright and prosperous Dominica.
fight. But if we do what's right, we win the peace. They win their war.
So Dominicans, that is it. Those of you in the region as well, or further afield looking on, thank you very much indeed for your eyes and ears. See you next week, Sunday, same time, same place from 6 o'clock. From the Civic Vibes team, thank you everyone indeed. God bless. Let's take the last verse from Brother Dice and we'll be out.
Dominica, wake up to your youth. There's a ticking time bomb under your roof. Without a job, education, skill or vision, they'll just become pawns for politicians. Because if your energy is anti-society, the first victims will be children and the elderly. How can Dominica claim to be strong when the youth in the land are living in rebellion? So arm them, arm them, arm them with the chance they need. They just want to succeed in whatever their field of endeavor. They have their rights. Look at them, they want to fight. But if we do what's right, we win the peace. They win their war. Oh yeah, what the right. Nice again. Yeah, yeah. Ah.